And we're live, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Deputy Clerk, and good morning, everyone, and welcome. We'll call this meeting to order, and I will turn to Councillor DeLeo for our land acknowledgement. Councillor DeLeo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, everyone. We begin our meeting by recognizing the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples of Canada as traditional stewards and caretakers of the land. We acknowledge that the town of Wasaga Beach is located within the boundaries of Treaty 18, the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Tionontadi, Wendat, and is the home of many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples as part of an intricate nationhood that reaches across Turtle Island. At this time of truth and reconciliation, we welcome the opportunity to work together towards new understandings and new relationships and ask for guidance in all we do.
May I wish, Councillor, thank you very much. And before we get to disclose your pecuniary interest, just a couple of announcements I think are important that we make. Some pride for the town of Wasaga Beach. As you may all know, we gave some funds to our U11 and U13 rep teams here in Wasaga Beach to go to the Silver Stick tournament. And I'm proud to report that from January 11th to 14th, both teams attended Silver Stick, and our U13 team began the tournament with a 3-1 game score in the round robin, defeating Caledonia Thunder 3-2 and the Bowie Bruins of Maryland in the U.S. 10-1 and the Elmer Flames 6-4. They then battled the Brock Wild in the semifinals, keeping the game at 0-0 until the third period, where the Wild scored 2 goals in an empty netter, which eliminated the Wasaga Stars from the competition. And it's important to note that even in defeat, the Stars celebrated their journey with their helmets held high. Coaches and parents could not be more proud of how well and represented their association and the town of Wasaga Beach was. And on behalf of the players and coaches and the parents, they send a big thank you to Wasaga Beach Town Council for our generosity and support of the U13 team. And as well as the U11 team, the 19th to the 21st of January, they advanced and they again had a 3-1 in the beginning, defeating the Campbellford Colts 5-2, the South Oxford Storms 3-0, and the Parma Flyers 3-0. And the players gave it their all in the semifinals to the Walkerton Capitals from Wingham, Ontario, but were unable to advance to the championships. And even though they didn't come up on top, the Stars showcased incredible sportsmanship and celebrated the journey with unwavering spirit. Both of those teams did exceptionally well for our community. We're very proud of them, and they've also sent along, signed by each and all of the players, a big thank you to the town and to council. So we're very proud of them, and congratulations, teams, and we hope that you get there again next year. So that's a great story for Wasaga Beach. And then the next one we have, if I'll just ask Chris if you can put a picture of our Wasaga Beach team curling Bonspiel team, Mike Pinsevero, Alan McClure, Dave Hatherley, and Amy Madja. They all played in Bonspiel recently at the Stainer Curling Club. They came in second, which means they both get 2 stakes each. So I'm sure they'll be, I don't know if Amy's going to be able to look after those 2 stakes, but the looks of those other 3 guys, they may, but she'll give them a run for the money for sure. So congratulations to our team. We're proud of them as well, and great news for Wasaga Beach. All right, moving on to, before we get started, one last item. I'm going to turn to our clerk to introduce Barb, going to move into a new role as acting deputy clerk while our deputy clerk is off on maternity leave. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. As Council is aware, Deputy Clerk Laura Borland will be in the very near future welcoming her first child, and we cannot be more thrilled for Laura and her family. In her absence, Barbara Kane will move to the Deputy Clerk position. Barb joined the town of Wasaga Beach in August 2023 as a Records and Information Management Specialist on a 2-year contract. Barb has 20-plus years of municipal experience as a town clerk and deputy clerk, having worked in neighboring municipalities. Mayor Smith and Council, I ask that you join me in welcoming Barb into this new role and wishing Laura and her new coming family many elation.
Absolutely. Happy to have both of you, and proud of the work you do. And Laura, all the very best as you move into the next chapter of your life. You're going to have a real job now. That's for sure. It's a tough one. And Barb, I won't say welcome aboard because you've been here, but welcome aboard, and glad to have you in that position. All right, moving on to item number 2, disclosure of pecuniary interests. I do have none before me at this time. If at some point throughout the meeting you feel you have a pecuniary interest, please let us know at that time. Item number 3 is adoption of the agenda, and I'll refer to our clerk on that. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Your Worship. Pursuant to Section 6.07B of the procedural bylaw, the Deputy CAO and I would like council approval for an amendment to the agenda to discuss and request council consideration of a donation agreement with Zancor Homes for naming rights of the 2 rinks in the Wasaga Beach Stars Arena and Library. If approved by council, this item will be considered under Section 12 of the agenda. This does require a 2/3 vote. The motion for consideration: that council approve an addition to the January 25th agenda to discuss a donation agreement with Zancor Homes, and that the contents of the agenda for January 25th, 2024 be approved as amended. Your Worship.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ladies and gentlemen of the council, you've heard the question. Could I have a mover and a seconder for this, please? Moved by Councillor White, seconded by Councillor Belanger. All in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Moving on to 3.1, approval of the agenda. It is recommended that the contents of the agenda of January 25th, 2024 be approved as circulated. Can I have a mover and a seconder for this, please? Councillor Timms and Councillor DeLeo, all in favor. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to approval of the minutes, 4.1, it is recommended motion that the minutes of the Joint Committee of Council meeting held December 14th, 2023 are hereby adopted as circulated. Questions or comments on this? Seeing none, a mover and a seconder, please. Deputy Mayor Snell, Councillor White, all in favor. That motion, all in favor. That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right, under item number 5, statutory public meetings, we have none. Under item number 6, presentations, we do have a couple here. 6.1, the 2023 year-end fire department report from our fire chief, and I'm going to turn it over to Chief Williams. But before I do, I got to tell you it's a sexy report. It's a really nice report, Chief. Thanks very much for that.
There's a couple of great-looking photos in it of some good-looking men. That's all I got to say. All right, good start. Good morning, Mayor Smith and members of council. It's my privilege to present to you the 2023 Fire Department year-end report. The reason that we're going through this today is in last year we updated our establishing and regulating bylaw for the fire department, and one of the requirements is for the fire chief to give a year in review to members of council. Following this meeting, we'll share this presentation with first the firefighters and then with our members of the public through social media as well as the town's website. So I'd like to thank Mayor Smith for some kind words. We've included a message from himself as well as myself that just thanks our dedicated firefighters as well as acknowledges that 2023 earmarked the 75th anniversary of our fire department. So we do have, of course, our mission statement to start off here, but important to note is that Wasaga Beach follows the Ontario's 3 lines of defense for fire safety. So when we deliver all of our services, our priority is first public education, followed up by fire code enforcement, and of course emergency response when required. A lot of the information in this presentation is found on this one slide here. These are the highlights of the year that we're most proud of. As previously stated, we updated our establishing and regulating bylaw. We finished the renovation of Fire Station 2. That building was in desperate need of repair. It's over 50 years old, and I think we did a great job of providing a facility that we can be proud of and that's safe for the firefighters to work out of. We refurbished pumper number 2, which is a frontline vehicle that's halfway through its useful lifespan. And we also hosted a 75th anniversary open house at Station 1. And I'm happy to announce that we will be following up that with another open house this year. I think it was so well attended, we would be silly not to try and replicate that same event on a yearly basis. With the support of council, we added a fire prevention inspection position, which is the first of its kind in Wasaga Beach and is going to go a long way to helping us keep the residents safe. We recruited 7 volunteer firefighters near the end of the year. And we also achieved about 98% compliance for NFPA certifications for all of our firefighters. And I can't understate the importance of this fact. So in 2026, the province is introducing mandatory certification for firefighters across the entire province, which means that you are required to not just complete firefighter training, but actually be certified under NFPA. And we, within the next couple months, will have 100% of our firefighters certified. And unfortunately, there's many municipalities in Ontario that are struggling to hit the same benchmark. So we're actually ahead of the game. We invested in additional personal protective equipment. This was very important, specifically purchasing more bunker gear. Our goal in the next couple of years is to ensure that every full-time firefighter has a second set of bunker gear, and this is an effort to make strides in cancer prevention. Firefighters should not be wearing dirty bunker gear, and the only way for us to assure that is to make sure we have adequate extra supply so that they can change into clean uniforms while their uniform is being cleaned either in-house or professionally. We introduced fitness equipment to Fire Station number 2 following its renovation. We hosted a family and staff support evening, so we actually invited not just firefighters but their spouses and adult children in to talk about mental health. And I'm very happy to say that our Deputy Chief will be following up that event with a program called Resilient Minds for all of our firefighters this year, which is to help support them in any challenges affecting their mental health going forward. We introduced some automatic second alarms to vulnerable occupancies, so our retirement homes and our group homes, to make sure that the adequate number of resources get to these fire calls when needed. And we became the first fire department in Ontario to become a naloxone distribution partner. So for emergency responses, we completed the year with 2,104 calls for service, which is obviously a record for Wasaga Beach. We take an all hazards response to emergency response. I'm happy to say that at no point last year did we rely on the help from another neighboring agency to deliver our services. And that includes any technical rescue response from an agreement we have with Barrie Fire. This chart in front of you, actually, I don't think it converted quite properly, but within your agenda package, there's an actual proper-looking chart. But this will be no surprise to look at it. Members of council, you receive this on a monthly basis, and it just indicates that the fire department doesn't just respond to fires, but we also respond to many other hazards, including car accidents, rescues, hydro wires down, carbon monoxide, and propane-type emergency fire alarms, etc. During 2023, we attended 340 fire and life safety inspections, primarily in our commercial businesses, but also residents as well. We also completed 170 hours of community outreach programming, which is another a new benchmark for our department. Just a couple of photos to show some of the important events throughout the year. Again, our 75th anniversary open house. During Fire Prevention Week each October, we attend all of our public schools and speak to all the children about fire safety. And the bottom right is an example of a check that was presented to Royal Victoria Hospital Cancer Society following a breast cancer campaign that we did. Training is very, very important in Wasaga Beach. You know, we must invest in training. It's for the protection of the community, but obviously for the safety of the firefighters as well. We're well aware of the hazards within our community, such as our need to conduct water and ice water rescue training, and we can spend considerable amount of time making sure our firefighters are prepared to respond to the emergencies that they may face. One of our other portfolios is emergency management, and our responsibility is not just to come up with a plan and maintain an emergency operations center in the town, but it's also to train staff and make sure that when an emergency, a large-scale emergency occurs in the town, that our staff respond appropriately. So we did submit all of our compliance documentation to Emergency Management Ontario and have already received confirmation of our compliance. budget, we recognize that this is a large number. The fire department represents a large expenditure to the municipality. We also have limitations on the amount of revenue that we're able to generate as a fire department. We're limited to only a small amount of user fees, and we apply for grants as often as they come up. But I do acknowledge this. I thank you for your support and understand that, you know, my role as fire chief is to get you the best return on investment that we possibly can, and I believe in 2023 we did that. This one didn't quite, the presentation's a bit prettier than this one, but I did want to acknowledge all the firefighters in their various ranks throughout the fire department. This slide represents firefighters who were active at any point in time with the department, and we have a lot of pride in what they were able to deliver to the community last year. One of the goals of myself and the Deputy Fire Chief in 2023 was to recognize milestones such as retirements and promotions, and it was also to honor the traditions of the fire department. So we did our best to hold a couple of special ceremonies last year. One was for retirements and promotions, another one was the graduation ceremony for our new volunteer firefighters. And if you haven't been to Station 1 recently and you head over, you'll see some more stuff on the walls. It's starting to fill up. We've been able to print a number of historical photos from the fire department to put up. We've also added some plaques that identify the names of every firefighter that's ever responded in this community. We also have an acknowledgement wall for the past fire chiefs and deputy chiefs, and we're going to try and continue that tradition because we think that that's very important. Again, another one that looks better in the package. But heading into 2024, we do have a couple of important topics that we're working on. First and foremost is our master fire plan and community risk assessment. We've already sent out an RFP and are just about to award the appropriate consultant. That will give us a 10-year plan as to the most appropriate way to move forward. We are adding one additional career suppression firefighter that will help with our emergency response. It'll also help as a cost avoidance strategy in which we hope to reduce some of the overtime that is necessary to provide our services. We will be replacing one set of automobile extrication equipment. Again, we're introducing a resilient minds mental health program for our staff. We're investing in additional personal protective equipment to keep the staff safe, and we'll also be hosting additional pump operations and ice water rescue training. And again, that's to do with our compliance requirements for NFPA certification. We do have a slide here just to show the activity of the fire department and how it's changed. Since 2010, our call volume has increased about 240%. So like many other departments in the municipality, we're feeling the pressures of growth, but I feel that we're setting ourselves up for success by continuing to invest in the programs that we are developing. So there is you'll notice a slight downward trend in 2022. Important to note that was at the start of COVID, and there was a period of about 3 months where not just the fire department, but many first responders had a very difficult time obtaining personal protective equipment, and the municipality made a decision to scale back some of the medical response for a couple of months, and that's the only reason you'll see that blip. If we add those calls back in, it would be a very linear line, so we can predict pretty accurately where our calls will be next year. And our final slide is just a couple words of encouragement that we obtained from some of our community members. So I'd like to end just by thanking the community for their support, thanking members of council and other staff members, and we look forward to a successful year in 2024. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief Williams. Questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll just indicate that we are in really good hands with your leadership, Chief. I can't tell or stress enough how much we appreciate the job that you, your deputy, do, and the great job that the men and women of the Wasaga Beach Fire Department do, keeping our community safe throughout the year. So thank you. A great report and good job by all. We do have a motion that the report titled 2023 Year-End Fire Department Report to Council meeting on January 25th, 2024 be received for information. Mover and a seconder, Councillor Belanger and Councillor Timms. All in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item number 7, delegations. We do have a delegation today from Mr. Mark Seguin, Mark, welcome, come on forward. You've got a lot of weight on your chest there, so again, thank you for your service and being a member of our Canadian Armed Forces over the years, and now here to talk about a Legion. So thank you and welcome.
Thank you. I try to keep my shoulders wide to hold up the weight. I start feeling your age, Chief, when kids, names on your slides, you coach those kids playing hockey, so now they're firefighters, you're going to start feeling your age. Okay, so first slide, who am I? There we go. I'm a 25-year veteran of the military, born and raised in Montreal. Sorry, it wasn't Toronto, so I'm a Habs fan. Did some time in the Air Force, did some time in the Army, did 2 tours, one in Bosnia in 1993 and one in Afghanistan in 2009, and retired in 2015 from the military. And 2012 we moved into Wasaga Beach, and my wife wanted to retire. She's a beach lover, so she wanted to retire at the beach, so her wish is my command, and we decided to retire here. And it wasn't long after that I got out of the military that I realized that there's no Legion in Wasaga Beach, and I was wondering, why is there no Legion in Wasaga Beach? So the question is, I don't know why there's no Legion in Wasaga Beach. We definitely have the population to support it. Collingwood is about on par with us in population. Stayner's way below us, and so is Elmvale in population, and they have legions. So I don't understand why we don't have a Legion, and I'm trying to change the status that we have right now. Why do we need a Legion? We need a Legion to support our veterans and first responders and communities, and also namely the cadets. The cadets are usually very involved with the Legion. They do a lot more than just supporting veterans. As most people know from Legions from around the areas, is we support seniors' homes and stuff like that. That we go out and find the veterans in seniors' homes and try to make their lives more comfortable in their golden years. What else am I at there? Oh, here we go. Okay, so our aim to support all the veterans, of course, and first responders. So now the misconception is the veterans, the Legion's always for veterans. Well, nowadays the Legion's has changed and it's adapting. We support a lot of our first responders, firefighter, and police as well. Support our cadet corps, and then we usually, of course, most Legions have a ladies auxiliary, and I definitely plan on having one of those. We provide a safe and friendly environment for all. In other words, Legions have open door policies where if anybody wants to come in and talk to a veteran, the opportunity is usually always there. And of course, we'll always represent the town of Wasaga Beach, in good standing, of course. Button, here we go. What do we need for a Legion? There's a lot of things we need for a Legion, but it starts with at least 10 new members. It can't be transfers, it's got to be absolutely new members. And that's the easy part. For me to put out a call to find 10 new members, I don't think it'd be very long. I'm sure I'll find a lot more than 10 new members to find a Legion. And of course, I'll need a well-motivated staff to get the whole thing going. The difficult part is everything else to get started. I've spoken with Ontario Command and Dominion Command, because I have a few friends in those offices. And the big thing is finding locations to meet, having support of the community, support of local social media, and everything is to get everything started. What I'm here to ask for is support from the town of Wasaga Beach in creating a new Legion. I don't know what all of you were doing, and if you remember what you were doing in 1979, but in 1979 I was 7 years old, and that's when the last Legion was formed. The last newest Legion was formed. There hasn't been a new Legion since 1979 in all of Canada. That being said, a lot of Legions have closed since then because of the Legion's been having a hard time finding new members. So we're really creating history here by starting to create a Legion here. I'm sorry, next slide. Oh, sorry. So yeah, we're really creating history here by getting a new Legion in Wasaga Beach. We're starting to create a new Legion in Wasaga Beach. my job is going to be a lot more difficult from now because I have to deal with all the paperwork and bureaucracy of the Legion to get this formed. Like I said, the easy part is just getting two new members. What I need from the town of Wasaga Beach is your support. I'm not asking for funds. I'm not asking to Wasaga Beach to spend any money or creating anything new. I'm just trying to tap into the resources we already have in the forms of maybe a temporary location where we can hold our meetings for the next foreseeable future until a more permanent establishment or more permanent location can be found. I need help with the town of Wasaga Beach for advocating and help with fundraising campaigns and that kind of support. I don't need anything huge for the beginning. Of course, we're going to be a very small Legion at the beginning, so I don't need a large area to meet. I just need something warm with chairs that we could meet. And generally, meetings are usually only about once a month with the Legion, so it's not like it's an everyday kind of thing. So the timeline for the creating of a Legion is unknown, but what my goal is, my ultimate goal is a boots on parade here outside on November 11th of 2024 with our very own Legion members on parade. From what I hear, once I find my members, the timeline to actually get a charter is very quick. It's not something that drags on for 6 months from what Ontario Command has given me. The information for that, it's once I get the 10 members minimum, they just do their paperwork and they have a meeting and then swear in the charter. What's going to be more difficult, like I said, is infrastructure and then everything else on my end, which comes with the bureaucracy of the Legion. So I'm here today to look for support for creating a Legion in the town of Wasaga. I hope I have your support and your help. The way I see it is a little help now to create this Legion. We will return that tenfold once the Legion is up and running. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Mark. Truly appreciate your time here and your effort on this very important venue and program and community organization to come to Wasaga Beach. As we all know, we have a great deal of veterans who live in our community today. And we have a great deal of active members who work in Base Borden and abroad, and/or their families who are living in Wasaga Beach while they are stationed elsewhere. A lot of military members. And at the end of the day, if you look at Wasaga Beach and how this town was really created and why it became a tourist town, it was all because of the soldiers in our Canadian Armed Forces. So not only do we owe everything that we have on a regular basis, but for the people here in Wasaga Beach, we owe a great deal to the soldiers because they are the folks that discovered our beach and discovered the dance halls and so on and so forth, and really created the tourism that we still have and enjoy today to keep us going on a daily basis. So thank you very much. Questions or comments from members of council? Councillor White.
Thank you very much, Your Worship, and through you. Fantastic for bringing this forward. What an incredible stat that there hasn't been a new Legion created since 1979. I was only in kindergarten back then.
I was 7, yeah.
Yeah, brand new to the country. So definitely support this. Although I never did serve in the military in any way, I was a very enthusiastic cadet for a very long time, very deep into that program, and so the Legion's near and dear to my heart, so happy to support in any way I can. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor DeLeo.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. Good morning, Mark.
Morning.
Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation and for your service.
Thank you.
I'm in full support of your Legion, but I do have one question for you.
Sure.
So if your Legion establishment is set up in Wasaga Beach, will it cater to affiliate and regular members only, or will there be a public area as well?
From what I understand, most Legions have a public area. In other words, it's an open door policy. One thing I want to make very clear is I don't want to create my grandfather's Legion. I don't want a Legion that's just a watering hole in town. I actually want something that's modern and something that'll represent today's demands and today's veterans. I've been to many Legions where, you know, you walk in there and it just looks like a tavern from 1979. It's one of those things that's like, okay, this is not a fun place or an appealing place to go. So I want this to be open to the public. As long as the doors are open, the public can come in. Most Legions have a community hall kind of thing that could be rented as well or used for the public. And so I plan on creating something like that. But like I said, I don't want to create my grandfather's Legion. I want something inviting and modern, so for everybody to be welcome, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. We'll now move to Councillor Timms.
Thank you, Your Worship, and I also support your request to look into the formation of a Legion. I recently attended the building and contractors meeting where one of retired military talked about the benefit of hiring veterans, and during that time learned about the number that are living right in Wasaga Beach, whether active or retired military. So I think that there's a great case here, and I'm very happy to hear that you're not looking to recreate the watering hole image of the Legion, because I know the good work that's done all over the country by our Legions, and I think we have a strong case for one here. So I'm in support.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Belanger.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you, thank you very much, Mark. I think this is, I'm very supportive, and I think it's an excellent opportunity for both the community to tangibly respect and thank all those that have served. And also, as you had indicated, you know, the modern Legion becomes another service club. These men and women don't change their colors. They continue to serve in a little different capacity, and I'm sure there will be tremendous benefit to our organization. The one thing I do want to clarify, I believe the Legion is also very open to first responders that are retired. I can tell you there's a tremendous number of retired police officers in our community. So I don't think this is going to be a small Legion to start out. I think you'll find that it becomes significant very quickly, and that we should hopefully find the appropriate location, at least on a temporary basis and not a permanent one. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Belanger. Councillor Eagle.
Thank you, and through you, Your Worship. Thank you for that great presentation, Mark. It's a pleasure to meet you, and I definitely support it for all of the reasons said, but also you're in the right age group. I see out there notes from 50-year-olds in this neighborhood that are now looking out because we are attracting a younger population. The Legion has a fabulous base in history, and that won't be forgotten. So we build on that, and the sports, the teams for all of those. You did speak to loneliness as well. So with that 50 years population, that age group, and also loneliness is the #1 growing epidemic in the country. There's been many articles written lately, and they're saying loneliness equals to 16 cigarettes a day. That's just a little stat that has stuck with me. So the Legion is known for social, for dances and fun and party, and I can relate to that. I was raised in the Salvation Army. The Mount Dennis Legion was right across the street. So you've got the Army and the Legion. My husband's family, he was the manager of that Legion. So I learned how those two worlds did meld, and it's a very good association. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Eagle. Deputy Mayor Snell.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, thank you, Mark, for the presentation. I'm also in support. I just had a question in regards to, because we do have one in Elmville and one in Stayner. Are you aware of how many members in those organizations are from Wasaga Beach, and how this might impact them and their ability to survive?
That's a great question, because we've had some discussion with Ontario Command in that regards. I know, because I used to be a member of the Stayner Legion, so I know that quite a few members from the Stayner Legion live in Wasaga Beach. The Ontario Command doesn't seem too concerned about it, because there will be some eventually that will transfer over once we're established. But there's also this thing in the military called loyalty, and a lot of people have this, so I'll stay loyal to Stayner. And I think, yeah, it will impact Stayner probably more than Amvale, I think, because Stayner's just a little bit closer. But I think they'll survive. I don't think there'll be an issue. Ontario Command doesn't seem to be worried about it. And I believe that all those loyal members to Stayner will probably change their minds once they have the first snowstorm that they can't go to their Legion 4 and they'll want to come to this one instead.
All right, good, all right, thank you. All right, again, Mark, thank you so much, and it is great to hear that the Legion is now considering first responders as well. As we all know, I mean, our military face some awful, awful things, but as do our first responders, and, you know, an organization that is aging, and in future may be struggling for members to include first responders, I think is a brilliant idea. I think at the end of the day, it is one big family. And I'm glad to hear that as well. And again, we thank you for all you have done for our country, and thank you for your presentation. And I'm sure, as you can see, you've got unanimous support here to help move this forward, so we'll do that. I do have a motion here that the delegation from Mark Sagan pertaining to the creation of a Legion in Wasaga Beach be received. And I'm just going to look to our clerk, because I think we probably want to add, I think we want to report back from staff as to what areas or what we may have that may be available to help move this forward. So Madam Clerk, can you add to that?
Thank you, Your Worship. Based on discussions, I prepared the following motion for council consideration. That council support the creation of a Royal Canadian Legion in the town of Wasaga Beach, and that council will further request for a temporary location for a Legion to staff to return with a report on viable location options.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Council, you've heard the question. You've heard the question. Any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Deputy Mayor Snell and Councillor White, all in favor. That motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mark, and have a great day.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, members of council. You'll be seeing me a lot.
All right, moving on to item number 8, government relations. I'll look to our CAO for some information on this. Andrew?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I just wanted to give a brief update on a meeting that we had recently at Roma Conference that took place Sunday and Monday and Tuesday earlier this week. We had an excellent opportunity to meet with Minister Lecce that provided us an opportunity to share our vision directly with the minister. Town staff and town council have met on numerous occasions with Patrice Barnes, who is the parliamentary assistant to Minister Lecce, but this was our first opportunity to meet face-to-face with the minister. We overwhelmed with the size of our delegation, and we brought our partners from the Catholic Board, from the County of Simcoe, and Farscape Homes with us. I think we left a very strong impression with the minister. We delivered a strong case. The feedback we received was we've done everything that the government has asked us to do. The situation, so the community understands, is that there's a lot of competition across the province for a limited pot of money. But I think we did ourselves a good case, and we positioned ourselves well. Funding will be announced end of Q1, early Q2. So we're hopeful, fingers crossed, that we made a strong impression that we can access some funds. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Any questions or comments? Deputy Mayor Snell.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I just wanted to thank you, Andrew, for the fantastic presentation that you did, and just to sort of publicly share some of the feedback from the Deputy Minister as we were leaving, for her to thank you and to shake your hand and to say in 20 plus years of doing this job, she had never seen a delegation so thoroughly and thoughtfully presented, and really congratulated you. So I just wanted to publicly acknowledge that and to thank the entire team and our partners.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Snell. Any other questions or comments? All right, I'll just add that it was great to meet with Minister Lecce. I have all the faith that Minister Lecce really does put children in this province first and foremost, and he had a great sense of humor. At one point he indicated there was a lot of people in the room and he wasn't intimidated. I made it clear I could pick up the phone and call more if we needed, and we got a good chuckle there. But it was a great presentation. I just want to add to what the Deputy Mayor said, and you know, what it showed, I think, Council, is that we do have a great staff at the town of Wasaga Beach. For the deputy minister to congratulate our CAO on an excellent presentation that she had not seen, as she said, in 20 years and hundreds of these, such a thorough understanding of what we were requiring in Wasaga Beach and the team effort that we put together. Parliamentary Assistant Jones made it very clear to us a year ago what we needed to do in order to come back with a strong case, and we did that. We took that away, we listened, and we did exactly as they asked, and I think they were quite happy to see that. So, we're looking around the Easter time, so let's all hope that the Easter Bunny brings us a high school, and we'll be able to move forward, move our community forward, and most importantly, bring what our children have wanted, needed, and deserved for many, many years, and that's a high school. So great job on staff and council. All right, moving on to item number 9, we have staff reports. I understand that the deputy mayor would like to make some comments on a few of these, and then we have items pulled as well. So items number 9.2, 9.3, 9.9, 9.10, 9.11, 10.2, and 10.4 have all been pulled, which we will deal with shortly. But having said that, the rest of the items on the consent list, if there's no further items to be pulled, we will read the question and then move on to those other items. So it is recommended the following consent list of items, staff reports, and all the recommendations contained therein be adopted, excluding agenda items pulled from the motion and voted on separately. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, may I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Tim, seconded by Councillor DeLeo. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. All right, we'll now move on to, sorry
Your
Madam
Worship,
Clerk.
I believe there was just a few comments on some of the reports that were not pulled.
Thank you. We'll get back to those now. So it's item number 9.3, 9.6, and 9.7. Deputy Mayor Snell.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just, for 9.3, I just wanted to acknowledge how much work is going on in Capital Works. Thank you very much for the detailed report. It's unbelievable how many things, how many balls are moving at the same time in moving our community forward in our infrastructure. For 9.6, I wanted to just acknowledge as well, Chief, and to thank you not only for yourself and the deputy attending the Christmas dinner, serving the community, but also having 2 firefighters there as well. So it was really great to see such a strong presence. And I wanted to acknowledge in report 9.7 around the accessibility. Again, congratulations on the accomplishments of that, those initiatives. And one that really stood out for me in particular around the virtual town hall. I think that online payment process is going to be a welcomed additional service for both our seasonal and full-time residents in terms of ease of payments. And that was it. Thank you very much, Your Worship.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Snell, for those comments. And I think important to note, not only was it great to have the fire department there and serving the good folks in some need here in Wasaga Beach, but it was a really good thing that the fire department was there, because we were almost blessed with a baby in the washroom. And so paramedics did arrive, and the chief and his team were in there doing their thing, and paramedics did arrive and got that lady to the hospital to give birth to her new child. And do we know any update, Chief? Was it a boy, a girl?
I had not received an update, but it was a good thing.
Absolutely.
That I waited till the hospital.
I can tell you the chief and his team, I'm so impressed. They were just as cool and calm as can be. I know I would have, I would have been not so cool and calm, I'm sure, but I remember our first child, I almost forgot my wife at home when I went to the hospital. So great job again, Chief, to you and your team for that, and a great story for sure. All right, we'll move on then to the items that have been pulled. 9.2 pulled by Councillor Belanger and Councillor DeLeo. Councillor Belanger?
Sorry, Your Worship. I apologize. If we can just get the motion for the consent correspondence items in 10.1.
Sorry, 10.1, a recommendation that the following items under the correspondence be received for information, except for the correspondence moved to matters for consideration. Questions or comments on this? Go ahead, Councillor Eagle.
I'm just
Sorry, Councillor, Madam Clerk, did you have something?
Is this for comment or for support? Okay, we will just ask that you provide that in section 12, the next section. Here.
All right, then. All right, so you've heard the question. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Deputy Mayor Snell, seconded by Councillor White. All in favor? That motion carries unanimously. All right, now we'll move on and open the floor to Councillor Belanger.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. I pulled 9.2 and 9.3 for a couple of reasons. I'll talk to 9.2, but I think we can't state enough the capacity and the management of our water systems in Wasaga Beach and what they will mean to this community now and in the future, given that some of our neighbors are struggling with some very serious problems. But in 9.2, there was a non-compliance in December. I will turn it to Kevin Lalonde. I believe it was very minor, but I think it's an opportunity to talk about the year in general, although there'll be a report coming, I think, later on the annual performance. But again, it's we're very fortunate as a community to have this managed so well. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Belanger, and move on to Councillor DeLeo.
Your Worship, I did ask if the Director of Public Works would make comment. The General Manager, my mistake.
My apologies. Sorry, I hope you don't feel left out, Kevin, but floor is yours.
Thank you. Through your worship to Councillor Belanger. Yeah, there was a non-compliance identified for the month of December, and it was really specific to the water level monitoring probe at the Veterans Well site. And certainly it's not a production probe or a quality probe, it's actually an aquifer probe that it's a technical instrument that failed and it was replaced. So as part of our permit to take water, we have to disclose these incidences. So that was specific to that one. As it relates to certainly our infrastructure in general, we do have a very comprehensive plan to make sure that we are ahead of the development and the demands that approach us. And as Deputy Mayor had mentioned, there is a lot of capital infrastructure and a lot of capital works underway, which also includes the environmental assessments and the planning programs to make sure that we are, construction ready or design and approval ready for funding or what have you, to try and stay ahead of that. And so certainly it's I'm certainly involved, but it's kudos to my engineering team as well, and certainly the operations staff and Aqua as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Anything further on that, Councillor Belanger? You're good? All right, Councillor DeLeo?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. Kevin's already answered my question.
All right, thank you very much. All right, if there's no other questions or comments on this, we do have a motion that the report titled Wasaga Beach DWS Monthly Performance Report, January 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2023, to the council meeting of January 25th, 2024, be received for information. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor DeLeo, seconded by Councillor Belanger. All in favor? That motion carries unanimously. All right, item number 9.3, and I believe that was also pulled by Councillor Belanger. Councillor?
Thank you, through you, Your Worship. Again, this is important, I think, for our community to understand that we are making very timely investments into infrastructure and completed a major upgrade. And again, I'll pass it to our General Manager of Public Works and Facilities. Got to get that down right. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor. Kevin?
Thank you, through you, Your Worship. Yeah, this recent project completion specific to the disc filter upgrades that was initiated a couple of years ago. And certainly as part of the design and the construction, we forecast and anticipate build-outs, and we plan for that. This particular project was replacing I guess a sand filter media that does a lot of the disinfection and filtering for our sewage and effluent cleaning criteria. We've replaced with a disc filter, so there are still some learning curves and operational differences from how the Ontario Clean Water Agency managed that before, but We're happy to see that conclude because we have the UV disinfection works underway. We're certainly have the tender underway for the biosolids complex upgrades, and then next year we have the inlet building work. So again, there's a lot of planning and design underway to make sure that we're ahead of the demand that we know is coming.
A lot of poop going on around poop, that's for certain. Any other questions or comments on this? Seeing none, we do have a motion that the report titled Capital Works Project Status Summary Quarterly Report 2023 Q4 to the council meeting of January 25th, 2024 be received for information. Can I have a mover and a seconder for this, please? Councillor DeLeo and Councillor Eagle, all in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item 9.9, and again, Councillor Belanger.
Yes, thank you again, through you, Your Worship. This particular report, if memory serves me right, we had estimated prior to having a final actual number, the increased cost of insurance for Twin Pet Arena and Library. And it turns out that that insurance is significantly higher, $120,000, I believe. And the report didn't indicate how we are going to address that unbudgeted amount. So I would just ask for clarification, I guess.
Jocelyn, perhaps you could help with that?
Thank you, Your Worship. Through Your Worship. So the $120,000 amount is an estimate at this time. We still do not have our final insurance premium policy. The budget was increased substantially in anticipation of insurance policies in general are increasing at a very high rate. Plus, we knew we had the oncoming TPAL insurance that would increase. I do not know at this time that that $120,000 is driven only by the TPAL. There could be other items. Where we're at with this is the insurance is due on February 1st, and this is our last meeting before we can put that approval in place. Without knowing that number, I've brought you forward a reasonable estimate, but then require the authority just to execute the documents when we do know, and then follow up with you after the fact with what did drive the insurance and what did it come in at in its final amount. So how we fund that is through the in-year surplus for 2024. When we get to the end of the year, if there's sufficient surplus, we'll just fund it through that. If we need to pull on a reserve, we will pull from our general reserves. We do have an insurance reserve, but it had been depleted. And one of the things that I'll be looking at the end of 2023, in March, when I bring the year-end memo forward, I'll be making a recommendation to put some money back into that insurance reserve. So then at the end of 24, if we need to pull from it, there will be some money there. So hopefully that gives you a sense of how we'll approach it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just a quick question. How long has that reserve been depleted?
Your Worship, it was just depleted, I believe, in 2023 budget. We started to pull from it at that time because we've been having increases substantial year over year.
All right, thank you very much. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, we do have a motion that the report titled 2024 General Liability Insurance Renewal to the Council meeting of January 25th, 2024 be received, and that the Council authorize the Treasurer to accept and execute all documents necessary for the renewal insurance premium for general insurance and risk management services. Questions or comments? Mover and a seconder for this, please. Moved by Councillor Eagle, seconded by Councillor Timms. All in favor? That motion carries unanimously. On to item number 9.10, the Tourism Partnership Plan, and I believe Deputy Mayor Snell, you had pulled this.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Just a comment first and then a question for Caitlin. Thank you very much for this report. I'm so excited to see this renewed focus in regards to creating collaborations, partnerships to help promote our beautiful community. I wanted to know more information about the Experience Development Fund, please. Thank you.
Sure. Through you, Your Worship. Good morning, everyone. So through the Experience Development Fund, we're looking at applying for a project that would help us develop 10 market-ready experiences within Wasaga Beach. and that's actually an initiative that's been taken from the council priorities. The project is still in the very early, preliminary stages, so we're still planning it out, but through this fund, we're looking to apply for funding to provide training and/or grants, if possible, to local Wasaga Beach entrepreneurs that have that skill or knowledge to offer authentic tourism experiences in the community to our visitors. It could be someone that already has an established business that's not fully developed, or it could be like a new entrepreneur that has the right ideas to develop those experiences. So staff and hopefully our partnered organization would work with those entrepreneurs to fully develop that experience, to make it market ready, and then help them modernize their booking options for visitors through platforms like Airbnb experiences. So once we have fully developed that program and we hear back from the funding, we'll update council on the initiative, and the program typically opens in March. So we plan to apply in the opening of that program. I plan to present it also to our Economic Development and Tourism Advisory Committee as well to get their feedback on it.
Thank you, Caitlin. Any further comments or questions, Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm really excited to hear that, and I think that's going to be welcomed and gratefully received by local businesses, and hopefully encourage some entrepreneurs to consider Wasaga Beach as a place to develop one of those initiatives. I also wanted to just acknowledge the ambassador program and to thank you and your team for launching that and getting that ready for this year. I think that again will be such a really add to the level of experience for both our visitors and residents to see friendly folks out there at the beach welcoming them, helping to address their questions, and also thanking our marketing team, because it's nice to see that starting to roll out in some of the social media promotions. So great opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Snell. Any other questions or comments on this? Seeing none, we do have a motion that the report titled 2024 Partnership Plan to the council meeting of January 25th, 2024 be received for information. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor White, Deputy Mayor Snell, all in favor. Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item number 9.11, sponsorship naming policy amendment. And I believe this was also pulled by Councillor Belanger. Sorry, Deputy Mayor Snell.
Thank you, Mayor Smith. Reading this report, I'm in favor of the recommendation to the amendment, but I just had a question for the Deputy CAO. Is this going to also include no vaping shops, no cannabis shops? Because, that I think is one that would align with our corporate values and our community values. That I would want to ensure that there's never an opportunity in our public facilities to advertise for those two types of businesses, please.
So I'll look to the clerk for some guidance on this, but yes, we can add that in. It was an oversight on my part when I put the report through. We included tobacco and marijuana, but my mind didn't drift towards vaping, so I looked to the clerk for, we just make a friendly amendment or just make an amendment to the policy so that it reflects the Deputy Mayor's question, which I think is very valid, and I think we should be included in the report.
I think we can do an amendment to that, Madam Clerk.
Absolutely. Thank you, Your Worship. We will just add administratively add the vaping to the exemption.
All right, thank you. Other questions or comments? All right, we do have a motion, sponsorship and naming policy amendment, that the report titled Sponsorship and Naming Policy Amendment to the council meeting of January 25th, 2024 be received, and that council approve the amended sponsorship and naming policy 2-18 attached as Appendix A, and that a bylaw 2021-25 be repealed. Do I need to add anything to that to include that, or it'll just be done administratively?
Be done administratively.
All right. You all understand that there will be an administrative change to that, but you've heard the question. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Deputy Mayor Snell, seconded by Councillor DeLeo. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. All right, item number 10.4, I have a note, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. Well, actually, if Council approves, we'll move to item 9.12. This is the amendment to the agenda that Council approved with regards to donation and naming agreement with Zancor Homes.
All right, I do not have that before me. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. If Council can indulge, we'll move to Deputy CAO for a verbal report.
Thank you very much. Mr. Deputy CAO?
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. So some exciting news here. We've chatted with Zancor over the last couple of weeks on the naming rights for the arena and what a relationship could look like. So we've settled on a spectator rink, naming for the spectator rink for $200,000, the naming of the community rink for $200,000. The term of this would be for 20 years. The total agreement is for $400,000 plus the appropriate taxes, which is payable upon execution of the agreement. So it's an upfront payment as well. So I'm looking for council to provide me with the clearance to complete an agreement with those terms. We'll certainly vetted by lawyers and do all the proper dotting the i's, crossing the t's, but the nuts and bolts of the agreement are in place and I think acceptable to both parties. So I can read the recommendation, I guess, that council receive the verbal report from the Deputy CEO on the terms of the donation and naming agreement with Zancor Homes, and that council authorize the Deputy CEO to execute a donation and naming agreement with Zancor Homes for the naming rights of the spectator and community rinks at the new Wasaga Beach Stars Arena.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy CAO. Questions or comments? Councillor White.
Thank you, Your Worship. More of a comment than anything. You know, Zancor is such an important community business and has been supporting our community for a very, very long time. And I know that the naming rights for the arena were a little bit contentious going back and forth, but reflecting the voice of the community and having it named the Wasaga Stars Arena, and now having Zancor come back and give us a very generous and very appropriate sponsorship deal for the two rinks. I'm incredibly pleased. So congratulations for getting this done, and thanks to Zancor for coming to the table with a very generous and an appropriate offer for our community.
Thank you, Councillor White. Deputy Mayor Snell.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just to sort of springboard off of Councillor White's comments, 1,000%. Very grateful that this was able to come together, and also too that that you negotiated that they pay up front rather than over a duration of years, because we need that money to pay towards the debt, and that is compounding daily. So thank you very much. That's a great negotiation.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Belanger.
You, through your worship, just want to remind the public that in the original donation that we requested to go back to the Stars Arena, it precluded the town from having sponsorship to the two rinks. So this was extremely positive in that it allowed us to obviously satisfy the wants of our residency, but also to recoup a large amount of the funding that we dearly need to pay down the price of the arena. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? I'll just add that, you know, what is great to note for the community's information is that when we approached the Cortellucci family with respect to the naming rights, and the reason that we wanted it to remain the Wasaga Stars Arena, because that's what the people of Wasaga Beach had asked in great numbers, loud and clear throughout the campaign. The Cortellucci family understood that. They weren't angry. They understood it completely, and they were willing to say, thank you very much. We'll just take our money back and we'll move on. And then we were quickly able to sit down, staff were with the family, and work on something else that the family could do and Zancor could do in our community, that they still wanted to be a big part of this facility and a part of Wasaga Beach and moving forward. And so I think it's important to note that, and we thank them for their generosity. So to the folks who would say that our relationship with Zancor is now kaput because we changed the name back, this is I think, a clear message from the Cortellucci family and from the town of Wasaga Beach that isn't the case. They are very big developers and partners in our community, and we're glad that they are here and playing the game with us, if you will. No pun intended, being the arena, but glad to have them on board, or back on board, and staff, great job for your hard work in putting this together. All right, so do we have, I'm sorry? Thank you very much, Councillor. The motion has been read. There's no further questions or comments. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor White and Councillor DeLeo. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. All right, now moving on, 10.12, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is in regards to the Cemetery Transfer Abandonment Administration Management Support. So municipalities are looking for council support to the provincial government to assist when cemeteries are abandoned. They become a municipal responsibility, which is creating a financial burden. So the correspondence is seeking support from the provincial government to review that legislation. And I can put a motion on the floor for council consideration.
We'll ask if there's any questions or comments first from council with respect to the cemetery information. Councillor Timms.
Just a question, Your Worship, through you. When I read that piece of correspondence, I wasn't aware that we have any other cemeteries in Wasaga Beach attached to a church. Could you correct me if I'm wrong about that?
Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Your Worship. I would have to review within the town if we do have that. However, there has been instances with development where abandoned cemeteries have come to light. So again, that becomes a municipal responsibility as well.
So I do not believe we have any other cemeteries in Wasaga Beach but the community cemetery. But to the clerk's point, we never know when we might find a cemetery or a grave site. And so that would immediately become the responsibility of the municipality. Councillor Timms?
Oh, yes, and follow-up, it's not that I'm opposed to sending support. It was just a curiosity because I didn't think it pertained to us specifically. I didn't believe it was a worry for us. So thank you for qualifying that thought of mine.
Thank you. All right, you've heard the question. You read the question, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. The council support correspondence item 10.12 regarding cemetery transfer, abandonment, administration, and management support, and that a letter of support be circulated.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Councillor, you've heard the question. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Ego, seconded by Councillor Timms. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item number 11, meetings of, Madam Clerk.
Your Worship, I believe 10.14 has been pulled by Councillor Ego.
My apologies. Councillor Ego?
Thank you, and through you, Your Worship. Yes, for 10.4, I would like to request that a letter of support be sent to all the parties listed in this correspondence. 10.4. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments? I'm going to look to you, Madam Clerk, for the resolution on 10.4.
Thank you, Your Worship. That council support correspondence item 10.1.4 regarding the amendment to the Municipal Act and Municipal Elections Act, candidate qualifications, and that a letter of support be circulated.
Thank you. And just for clarification, it's not 10.4, it's 10.1.4, which is why I was off a little bit here trying to find it. Thank you, Madam Clerk, for that assistance. Council, you've heard the question. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Ego, seconded by Deputy Mayor Snell. All in favor? All in favor? Those opposed? That motion carries. All right, now we move on to item number 11, minutes of boards and committees. 10.11, recommended motion that the minutes of the boards of the committees as listed in items 11.1 be received for information. Questions or comments? Seeing none, could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor DeLeo, seconded by Councillor Timms. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. And moving on to item number 12, matters for consideration. We have 9.2, 9.3, 9.9, 9.10, 9.11.
Sorry, Your
Madam
Worship.
Clerk?
We actually considered those already, so we'll just skip to 13. My apologies.
No problem. Thank you very much. Council requested staff reports as listed in the attached documents. Any questions or comments on this? All right, seeing none, we'll move along to notices of motion, and I believe we do have one notice of motion today. Councillor Belanger?
Yes, thank you. Through you, Your Worship, just to remind council that this is just to read the motion. There's no discussion at this time, and I believe it's coming back in late February. So, whereas a recent internal investigation has identified new information related to previous Integrity Commissioner complaints, and whereas there has been Integrity Commissioner complaints filed against myself, Councillor Joe Belanger, resulting in recommended sanctions being voted on and approved by the previous council. Therefore, I request the opportunity to review the IC recommendations and associated council decisions with the current council, and further that council consider if I should be compensated for all or part of lost pay and expenses incurred in my last term of council.
Thank you very much. We've heard the notice of motion, and that will come back at a later date. Any, no questions or comments on that. We'll now move on to item number 15, which is closed session, and the resolution to hold a closed session that pursuant to the Municipal Act 2001 is amended. The next portion of the January 25th, 2024 council meeting will move into closed session to consider the following matters. A, proposed or pending acquisition, disposition of land, the municipality or local board, section 239-2C, it's in regards to the beachfront leases. And then item number B is litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, section 239-2E, and this is a municipal matter. Could we have a mover and a seconder to go into close, please? Moved by Deputy Mayor Snell, seconded by Councillor Ego. All in favor? That motion carries unanimously. We'll now move into closed session. Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Clerk. And we now come out of closed session at about 1:05, moving into open session. We have a rise and report from our clerk. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Your Worship. Council met in closed session on January 25th at 11:35 a.m. to discuss the following matters. Beachfront leases pursuant to Section 239(2)C of the Municipal Act. As a result of that discussion, the following motion is before Council for consideration. That the CAO and beachfront manager be delegated authority to negotiate and execute beachfront leases, with the exception of a lease that endorses a liquor license that did not have a liquor license in the previous term, and a lease that drops 20% or more, excluding prorating factors.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. And moving on to item number 16 on the agenda.
If I can get a mover and a seconder.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you've heard the question. Mover and a seconder. Councillor Timms, Councillor White. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Sorry,
Moving
and I'll
on.
just finish the rise and report.
Oh,
My
okay.
apologies. Council also heard a municipal matter pursuant to Section 239(2)E of the Municipal Act. As a result of that discussion, staff direction was provided. Council also received and approved the closed session minutes of December 14th, 2023. Thank you, Your Worship.
All done? Yes. Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to item number 16, bylaws, that the following bylaws be received and to be deemed to be read a first, second, third time, passed and numbered as follows. Number 2024-02, a bylaw to authorize an interim tax levy for 2024. 2024-03, a bylaw to adopt an interim deputy clerk and cemetery custodian for the town of Wasaga Beach, Barbara Kane. 2024-04, a bylaw to establish an updated ladder chart for non-union employees, value groups 1 through 14, effective January 1st, 2024, and an updated wage chart effective January 1st, 2024. Bylaw 2024-05, a bylaw to change the normal retirement age under the OMERS Primary Pension Plan, Primary Plan, and the Retirement Compensation Arrangement, RCA, that provides benefits for employees identified herein effective December 17th, 2023. And bylaw 2024-06 is a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Wasaga Beach at its regular meeting held January 25th, 2024. Questions or comments? Mover or seconder, please. Deputy Mayor Snell, Councillor Eagle, all in favor. That motion carries unanimously. This meeting is adjourned. What was